So today's webinar is titled Get Lucky with Digital Media. There's a perception out there that getting your content noticed is purely luck. Basically throwing everything you have at the wall, hoping something might eventually stick. There's definitely an aspect of luck in getting your content noticed by the media, but there are, however, strategies and steps to take in order to increase the visibility and ensure you are getting noticed. So in St. Paddy's Day terms, your pot of gold won't just fall on your lap. You have to earn it. Gee, I really wish I could do an Irish accent because that would have sounded a whole lot cooler. I can try it. No, I'm not even going to try. Never mind. So we're going to take a high-level look at 3 branches to help get your content noticed by the media. So first of all, excuse me, building an advertising campaign to complement your digital marketing content, different strategies on increasing content visibility with both traditional and digital media, and using public relations to facilitate media relationships and guide the direction of your digital messaging. Again, I want to stress that this will be a high-level look at these 3 topics. Each topic will be complemented with an article posted to our blog over the next few weeks. So be sure to keep an eye on our blog as we dig deeper into these topics. I want to go next. Here we go. There we go. So be sure to get involved. We want you to join in on the conversation. So please be sure to tweet out using the hashtag GShiftGetLucky to GShiftLabs. And that's also my personal Twitter account, so that we can continue the conversation after the webinar. So please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. So building an advertising campaign to complement your digital marketing content. Advertising is a very important aspect of getting noticed, not just by the media, but also by your audience, prospective audience, and even your opinion leaders. Advertising is one of the only methods of getting noticed where you have absolute full control over the content, where it's going, and who sees it. So that's very important. Advertising should never be an afterthought. Rather, it should be incredibly thought out and strategized. So let's say we're planning, I don't know, a webinar about St. Patrick's Day, and we really want people to attend. I'm not just going to throw up an ad wherever and hope for the best. I'm going to actually think it through very carefully. So first off, we need to determine clear goals and expectations of outcome for these ads. We then need to narrow it down and, we need to narrow down who we are targeting, aka our demographic, and find out what our budget will be. So for our example of the St. Patrick's Day webinar, our goal could be to have, 300 people attend the webinar. We probably want people who are Irish, probably who live in places populated with Irish people, and we have a budget of, $1 million, let's say. I don't know. That's incredibly high. Let's say $200. So with that information, we are now able to decide on an advertising platform. There are a ton of options for advertising, and it's extremely overwhelming, I know, so just do what you can. All I can say is you should select a few platforms and properly execute the ads on those platforms. You'll find more success doing that than spreading your resources too thin across dozens of platforms. And of course, don't forget to measure your outcomes and ROI. Digital platforms are probably the most obvious place to place your ads. However, don't rule out using traditional advertising venues. All traditional advertising has moved into the digital space as well in order to stay current and keep up with their audience. Traditional media has been forced to move to the digital world to adapt and stay relevant. They still rely on the traditional uses, obviously, but extend their brands and content across digital platforms. So for example, every major market radio station will have an online advertising space available to any of their clients. You could be on their website, on their social media, or as a commercial to their online streaming service. So don't rule out the more traditional forms of advertising. But if you do go down this road, please make sure to keep your branding consistent. You're going to want it to have the same look and feel on digital as it does on traditional. And if you are going the more traditional way for advertising, don't forget to incorporate digital components to the traditional media so that advertising venue can use that on their digital platforms as well. So include a hashtag you want people to use. Tell them where to find you online, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you are. make sure people know how to find you, even if you're using traditional advertising venues. So for example, like I said, these are all examples of traditional media going onto the digital platform. So the top left corner there is from this morning from the Today Show. They had a segment about dogs and dog yoga. That sounds weird to me too, but you know, whatever. So while the segment was going on, they were tweeting about it. They had it all over Facebook to kind of give a more extended user experience to their audience. CNN does the same thing with all of their stories. They'll have bonus content on their digital platforms. The Voice does a great job. The TV show The Voice with Adam Levine there does a great job on Instagram. They use their hashtag all over the TV show. They even have tweets coming up on while they're broadcasting. Snapchat is another area where companies are now going, and even local radio stations and local news venues are on Facebook and social media and use it to enhance their content. So that 105.3 Kiss FM there, that's them yesterday during their morning show broadcast, just sending everyone a little happy St. Paddy's Day cheer. So as you can see, traditional media is really focusing now in the digital space. So it's definitely a great option to be thinking about for advertising. It may not be the best option for you. I do want to say that as well, but it is definitely an option that's out there. So some different strategies on increasing visibility with both traditional and digital media. What kind of media are we talking about here? It's important to define what kind of media you want attention from. It could be digital media such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, blogs, Reddit, forums, etc., or traditional media, radio, TV, print, and whatever else is out there as well. So when you are deciding on a platform to use, make sure you use a platform that best matches your brand and your presence. So if you don't have a Facebook page or any kind of presence on Facebook, trying to get noticed on Facebook probably isn't the best idea. Just throwing that out there. Your probabilities of getting noticed by the media is much higher if you engage with them directly. If you want people to attend our St. Patrick's Day webinar, for example, we should definitely be tweeting to whichever media source we want to get noticed by. Start a conversation with the media source directly. They may not engage at first, but somebody else might respond to you, and eventually, if enough people are engaging with that content that's on that media's platform, they have a higher chance of actually engaging with it. So for example, local news sources will often use things that people tweet as content for their newscast. So if there's a picture of your event or a picture of, I don't know, whatever, you can send it to your local news source, whether that's CTV or whoever it is, and they actually will use that as content. You're going to want to give people a reason to engage with you. It could be a contest, a survey, an open-ended question, whatever else makes sense for you in the content that you are providing. So for example, with this whole St. Paddy's Day webinar that we're going through, we could offer on Facebook a contest for someone to win a set of beer steins to be won by someone who likes the post, for example. If you do decide to do a contest on Facebook, I will say though that you really should be reading the Facebook Terms of Service because they do have a pretty strict contest guidelines. And of course, as with everything else, you're going to want to track where your content is going and assess the success and failures of your efforts. And just a little side note, you're going to, like I said, you're going to want to track where your content's going. And if you use an analytics software, you can definitely do that there. For those of you who use G-Shift, you can track an offsite page right from your account. And if you need any help with that, just contact us and we'll help you with that for sure. So to increase visibility with media, you're going to want to make sure your content is top-notch. Whichever platform you do decide to use, make sure the content you create for it is natural and native to whichever platform you select to use. I cannot stress enough, do not use the same content across all platforms. You're going to want to customize it for each platform that you post to. And something to kind of think of when you're posting, post exactly like how you would post on your own personal social accounts. So for example, with Facebook, you're going to want to have some nice pictures, some links, and a good description. Hashtags realistically probably aren't the best tool to be using on Facebook. They are available to use, but they don't get much traction, and it's more of a tool to be used on different platforms. Twitter, you're going to want to keep it short and concise, and be sure to use at least one, but no more than two hashtags. Post your content a few times a day to increase the likelihood of people seeing it. And for Instagram, the biggest thing there is to use lots of hashtags. I recently read an article saying that Instagram posts that had more than 11 hashtags received much higher engagement. Now, I definitely do not suggest doing 11. That seems a little over the top to me, but keep it around 5 to 7 hashtags. And the pictures on Instagram should be nicely stylized and not look like too much of a blatant ad. Excuse me, ad. Same with Pinterest, some nice pictures, and again, not looking too ad-y. And LinkedIn, keep it very professional. I probably wouldn't put in any acronyms like LOL or LMAO, just that's not really the place for it. You should also kind of think outside of the box when it comes to media platforms. Reddit is a huge area of influence. It is, however, extremely confusing at first, and just because they have a lot of rules that don't really seem to make much sense. For example, like you can only post self-promoting content on Fridays. Like I don't really get it, but that's their thing. But it is a huge way to get noticed and a great way to get traction for your content as well. There's also different industry-specific social media outlets like Houzz, which is it's similar to Instagram and Pinterest, but for housing design and housing interest architecture and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty neat. Dribble for web designers and graphic designers, and whatever other industry-specific social platforms are out there. If it makes sense for your brand to be there, I would suggest being there. So yeah, actions equal reactions in this. Media outlets will rarely reach out to you. An action from you will more likely lead to a desired reaction from the media. So just something to keep in mind there. Using public relations to facilitate media relationships and guide the direction of your digital messaging. The most important part of public relations is building relationships with key opinion leaders in your industry. Building a list that you can reach out to personally that will have your best interest in mind is never a bad thing. I can guarantee you that. Create mutually beneficial relationships, so don't expect people to help you get your content disseminated if you will never help them. So, I scratch your back, you scratch mine kind of thing. If it makes sense for your content, definitely create a press release. It's the single most important thing to remember when you're creating a press release is to present it in a way that will benefit the source. Don't simply lay out facts. Spin it into a story. Stories sell, facts tell. So think about your local evening news. Every story has a purpose and an emotional aspect to it. So in your press release or in any other communication with the media for that matter, you should be creating a story that they cannot refuse to pick up. But don't make it up, obviously. Another thing to keep in mind here for public relations is that you need to make sure that everybody on your team has a clear understanding of the positioning for the content. How they should be responding to any inquiries, who inquiries should be sent to, etc., etc. All correspondence should be vetted through one person, but inevitably a media source will definitely go through someone else just to get the information that they're looking for. So everyone on the team definitely needs to be on the same page. And all communication should align with brand messaging and be consistent. E-blasts, they're not necessarily a public relations tactic. However, they are an extremely useful tool. E-blasts have the highest click-through rate and ROI when compared to any other marketing tool, digital marketing tool. They allow you to reach your exact audience, and you're already reaching a converted audience. So it's a lot easier to get a return on them, and they are way more likely to help you spread the word of any content as well. So if you already have an email list, sending an e-blast should be a no-brainer for any kind of content. So to bring it all together, carefully planned and executed ads and public relations strategies definitely lead to a higher probability of success in getting picked up with the media. The more success experienced with advertisements and public relations, the more buzz you will receive from the media. Getting noticed by the media is not simply based on luck, so carefully thinking through your strategy will ensure you find your pot of gold, just to, keep up with the St. Patty's Day theme. So this is going to be the part where we will be going through some questions. Let me open up my browser here. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to send them along my way. And like I said, this will all be available on, the audio will be available later this week as well. This webinar started at 1 o'clock. Sorry for that confusion there. Yeah, I can show the last slide again for sure. Let me just go figure out here how to go back here. There you go. There you go. All right, so back to there. Hope that was enough time and we didn't rush through that last slide there. The use of digital media, that is a good question. Digital media is where more and more of our audience is going. So we're always going to want to go where our audience is. And obviously, you're going to want to pick the digital media platform which best suits you and your audience, or sorry, you and your brand to where your audience is. We will be touching more of that in the next couple of weeks with the blog posts. So please be sure to keep an eye out on that. How does the G-Shift platform help? The G-Shift platform helps by being able to track off-site pages. So if you have any content that's going wherever, you can put that into the G-Shift software, and it will track the performance of that piece of content. And if you need any help, just reach out to us, and we'll be happy to walk you through. All right, are there any other questions? All right, well, thank you so much for joining me. Here's one more. For B2B products, what social media platforms do you recommend? I actually just read a study, or not a study, an article, sorry, about Twitter and its increased use on B2B. Twitter is quite successful with B2B, but mostly during business hours, obviously. This article was saying that Twitter used as a B2B tool is really increasing in use. I'm trying to think of the number, like the increase and the success. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'm sorry, but Twitter is a really good tool, and LinkedIn as well is a really great tool for B2B. In fact, I personally think that's where the best success lies, is with LinkedIn, just because it gives more of a professional outlook on all of that. Have I seen success on Facebook by targeting small business owners? Yeah, I have, for sure, absolutely. Some of the my past clients have been really small businesses, and their highest engagement happens to be on Facebook. The more pop and shop kind of businesses, they really benefit from Facebook, as Facebook is very much a local tool. It's easy to check in somewhere, or to leave a comment, or even just follow up on what's going on in your town or city. So people who use Facebook, like small business owners, find it a lot easier to really reach new audience. How much time and budget would you recommend for social media? Well, that completely depends on your budget, obviously, but it you can get some pretty good results for a little budget. Um, you can set up on Twitter and Facebook caps at how much you want to spend a day, and it can be like $7 a day, which is nothing. I mean, you're not going to get a huge return out of $7 a day or $5 a day or whatever. But I mean, generally, I would say if it makes sense to be advertising on social media, then you definitely should be putting more of a focus there. But that also depends on how often you use social media as a business. If you rarely use it, advertising on social media probably isn't the best idea. You'd probably want to increase your usage first. Can I discuss success stories using Instagram or Pinterest? I personally don't have much experience with Pinterest in terms of using it for an advertising uh, method, but Instagram I do have quite a bit of experience using. Excuse me. Mostly in the music industry. Pinterest has been a really successful way of getting people to buy music, and I mean that in saying people love to follow people they love, right? So they're following you, and if you say this song is now on iTunes, the link is in our profile, go to it. We've noticed that people are really responding really well to that, and there's no reason to assume that that wouldn't be the case um, for non-entertainment industries as well. The key there, though, is to post frequently. As with all social media, but with Instagram, I generally say posting twice a day is the optimal. There we go. Okay, there's a lot of questions coming in here, and my screen is very little. The problem with LinkedIn that we have seen is that it is mostly job seekers and they don't linger too long. Targeting biz owners has been dreadful. Yeah, that could be the case. I don't really see LinkedIn as being great for business to consumer advertising, but it is quite successful for B2B. So if you're trying to reach other businesses, it is a great option. Oh no, I already answered that one. I need to actually pay attention to what I'm answering. All right, so that seems to be it. I believe I answered all of the questions. If there's any more, again, please tweet them at me at LoganJesseM and at GShift Labs using the hashtag GShiftGetLucky. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.